That was Pretty in Pink by Scene Queen, and now I am joined by the Scene Queen herself. Welcome to Knotfest. How are you?
Hi,
Hi.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. You must be on an absolute high right now because, as mentioned, Pretty in Pink is officially out today. So I know you were crazy anxious before dropping this tune, but how are you feeling now that the whole world is seeing how badass this tune is?
Honestly, the first time I released a song and it did something on TikTok, I was honestly shocked. So to have it kind of doing the same thing again, I honestly never could have possibly fathomed that that would have happened. So I'm still in a little bit of shock, I guess, but I'm really excited that it's finally out. And I'm glad people are vibing with it. I was, still a little anxious though.
It's so fun because I discovered the song recently through your TikTok videos. You, of course, had it in the background prior to releasing it. I'd play the same part over and over, just waiting for the whole thing to drop. So it's a really interesting song because it's heavy, it's super poppy, yet at the same time, you're practically rapping. So it's a lot, but it works effortlessly together. So, how did you originally kind of get the idea to go from emo to Barbie with this bimbo-core?
Well, so my first song that I had done was a little bit more active rock, which I had always grown up in the emo scene and that sort of stuff. So having that kind of straight almost post hardcore sound was kind of natural to me, but before all of that I was actually working as a songwriter in pop and hip hop. So then when I had done the full active rock thing, I kind of realized after a little bit of time that I was almost missing having that super catchy, not always totally serious stuff. Yeah. So and I knew that a large portion of why I wanted to work with Hopeless Records is I had given them my whole scope of I want to do everything super pink and hyper feminine and obnoxious because I just want to prove a point that there is 100% a space for women in the scene. So when I was talking to Hopeless Records about that, they were like, whatever you want to do, 100% we're going to back your vision. So then when I came to them with Pretty in Pink and I was like, is it okay if I also go 110% super extra with the music as well? They were like, this is crazy. We love it. So since they gave me the okay, the stuff I have even after this is progressively gets crazier and crazier and crazier. So you'll definitely see returning Barbie weirdness, which I'm super excited about. It's everything I'd hoped for.
That's so exciting. I mean, you have to tell me a little bit about the cover because you look stunning, and at the same time, the faces that you make crack me up every time. I love how you don't take yourself too seriously. It really shines through, but at the same time, clearly, your passion and professionalism is still there. So tell me a little bit about that aspect of things.
See, that's part of my whole brand is I really enjoy being an internet troll, and I don't like to take myself very seriously, which people tend to not fully understand. I think when I come out and say oh, I'm the heaviest musician of all time, clearly I'm not, because I have one breakdown in the song and really the entire chorus is me la da 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 da, or the verse. So I'm so I just kind of enjoy goofing around because I think my music is so tongue-in-cheek anyway that if I were to be this is a fully serious thing 100% of the time, it would almost come off I was trying too hard. And I just want to do everything that feels natural to me. So if part of that is being not that serious and having the super girly stuff with the contrast of how I actually am as a person, then that works best for me.
Have you always had a more carefree and goofy side, or has this music really allowed you to just kind of be unapologetically yourself?
To be honest, I've always kind of had that. When I first started TikTok and pre even me posting my music, which my first song came out about a year ago. So the fact that people are still interested in what I was doing musically, after releasing a single song and then nothing for an entire year is kind of insane to me. But before that, I was posting just weird content about emo bands that I like and kind of just making jokes about the scene and finding, people that kind of just vibed with the general music that I personally like to listen to. So people that have been following me on TikTok for a while, are kind of aware of my weird, Warped Tour joking content sort of thing. So I think for me to stop trying to be kind of entertaining in that way when I go into music would be a very weird transition from like, here I'm posting random content about like Pierce the Veil and Warped Tour bands, and then like now this is only an artist project and nothing else.
Right. It's fun to go back to those roots and keep them as you go, because that is what made a lot of people fall in love with you in the first place and just kind of have that connection. But it's really fun to see how much you do kind of share what's on your mind. You're very forward, and you also tweet whatever's on your mind. So you have to tell me about this one. You shared, I don't know what's better, my new music or my big, fat, juicy dump truck ass.
See, like, that's the thing. It's like, that I'm clearly kidding about, because like for starters, I have a pancake butt. Like I have a very flat butt. So like people that know me in person know that that is 100% a joke. But like some people will see that and like think that I'm serious. So now I'm just kind of in that place where I like really enjoy posting these things just to see if I can have one person be like, why would you say that about your music? Like you're not that special. Which is kind of like why I'm enjoying the bimbo-core thing so much right now, just because I'm literally like making a joke, being like, I'm like, you know, not smart. I've never picked up a guitar before. Like, and people actually like believe that I do that, even though I have like a full song out as a solo artist, like, you know, with heavy guitars and all that sort of thing. So I'm like just kind of enjoying being weird on the internet right now.
It's so fun to watch. So please, for all us weirdos out here, keep being weird. I appreciate it.
I appreciated that's the tweet you found too.
And of course, we briefly mentioned it, but earlier this month, you announced that you officially signed with Hopeless Records, and you shared how you pretty much cry every day just thinking about the other bands on the label and how you were now one of them. So what was that moment like when you officially signed and all of those dreams actually came true?
So when Are You Tired first came out, I'd been reached out to by like a couple labels, but my manager like told me specifically, he's like, yeah, Hopeless Records is really interested, because like he had a previous connection through another one of his artists with Hopeless Records. And like, I don't know, just hearing like Hopeless Records is really interested, like I started like bawling immediately, just because like genuinely, if you ask anyone that I went to high school with that knew me, like I would always say like verbatim, I'm going to move out to LA and work for a record label like Hopeless Records. Because at the time, like when I was younger, I thought I wanted to be a tour manager or work in PR or something like that, not like a full-on musician. But I'd even said like Hopeless Records. So then when I got into college, like I'd applied for an internship with Hopeless Records like multiple times, never got the internship, but I like was so dead set on getting this internship that I like had lunch with the CFO of Hopeless Records, and I was like asking them.
I saw your TikTok on that.
Yeah, every single thing about how the label works. Like I was asking him, like, what's your overhead cost? Like, how much does it cost for you to run your business? Like, how does that relate to the profit that you're making? Blah blah blah. Like stuff I didn't need to know, because I have no interest in like, you know, being potentially like in finances in a label. I just like really wanted to try and impress these people. Aww. So like when I didn't get the internship, I was kind of like devastated, but it was also around the same time where I was realizing like, yeah, I really don't want to be going into the business side of music. So then like I kind of just like forgot about that dream for a little bit, which was like coincidentally around the same time that like Warped Tour announced it was his last year. And I was like, maybe this is like a sign that I need to just like put that in the back of my head. But then when I like got back into like the emo scene again and I started posting all this music and all that stuff, like hearing that Hopeless Records specifically was interested was just the most full circle like thing in the entire world. And like I still am such a music nerd. Like pre this interview, like I went on like a really long like Palais Royale deep dive and I like watched like 40 of your interviews with them. Like I'm genuinely like such a nerd for like the scene. So like being on Hopeless, like when you think of like the emo scene, you're gonna list like 4 labels and that's one of them, you know? So it's just like totally surreal for an emo nerd like me to be on Hopeless right now.
I love that so much. It's one of those full circle moments where you can really say like, hey, it may not have worked back then in terms of applying for that internship and everything you went through and all the letdowns that would have come with it. But hell, now you're signed to them, which is ridiculous. Like, that's amazing. So the last thing I wanted to ask you about, and by the way, I want to say I love that I did my research on you and you did yours on me. So but But since you've mentioned being obsessed with the bands on the label, who would be the one where you would just absolutely lose your mind if you could actually tour with them, like a double hopeless bill?
Oh gosh. See, that's so hard for me because like I mean, especially in high school, like I was a Tumblr kid, so all of like the pop punk bands in that era, like, you know, having like neck deep in the Wonder Years on Hopeless with me right now, like stresses me out to the point that I can't even like think about that because I would just be
Oh.
genuinely like embarrassed if they found out about my music. So I guess like that's who probably like on Hopeless would be the one because I'm like, if I can't even comprehend them listening to my music, that probably seems like a dream tour, like to be
Oh.
on. But
We'll make it a triple bill.
yeah.
Well, Scene Queen, I want to say thank you so much for coming on here. I said it before we went live, but I am genuinely just loving what you're all about. The tunes are absolutely banging. So thank you for coming on here and speaking with me today for Knotfest. It's
Thanks
been
so much for
awesome.
having me. It was great. A
Of
lot less
course.
stressful than I thought it would be coming on live.
We try to make it a chill atmosphere over here, just shooting the breeze.
Yeah, totally.
Well, to everyone watching, this has been Scene Queen. Be sure to check out Pretty in Pink. You can click the link in the chat for more. And as always, hit up knotfest.com for plenty of other interviews. Again, Scene Queen, thank you so, so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Bye.